What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Early Edge. It is going to be a great day, and that's thanks in part to you in the chat. Japan, James Murphy, Rick Funcan, and Moshi. Oh, Moshi says something pretty important, not just for today and yesterday, but maybe for Thursday as well, when we're going to see Prop Stars again, because Prop Stars went 3-0 last night. And if you don't remember what he promised, he said next time he's on the show, if he goes 3-0, he's letting the hair down. We are going to see full Aquaman in just a couple of days. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at what we did yesterday. Not great. Thankfully, Proppy went 3-0. 2-5 is not where we want to be. I lost my TCU bet. Honestly, on the back end of that, it doesn't look like it was a good play. Baylor was just too good for TCU, but I'm going right back to college basketball today, trying to get out of this slump here. Good stuff, again, from Prop Stars. He was 1-0 on the show, but certainly 3-0. That's what we like to see. By the way, I mentioned yesterday, I did trigger some people with the Frazier-Seinfeld thing, but I also mentioned that we've got some specialty shows coming up. Now, if you're an early Wedge fan, you know that's tonight at 7 o'clock. It's every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, but check this out. We've got UCL round of 16 preview, part 2, Thursday, 2/29. That's just in a couple days. MLB Futures, we've been asking about that. March 8th at 3 p.m. And then Monday, March 11th, 3 p.m. MLB Futures. That's the NL as opposed to the AL. And then we're doing player props. And then we're doing the NCAA Tournament preview on March 18th. There's just going to be so much content coming up, specifically with soccer, with college basketball, and of course with Major League Baseball. All right. That's enough about the specialty shows. Lock that in. If you didn't take a screenshot of that, you probably should. So go back, take a screenshot of that, and make sure you have that, and make sure you have notifications turned on as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce the stars of the show. It's a Tuesday, so you know how we do it, right? We've got buckets. We've got Zack Cimini. We've got Mikey B, and our favorite NHL capper, Griffin Carroll. Oh, I mean, this is a good crew. This is a good crew. Let me start out with Buckets. Buckets, how you doing today?
I am doing all right considering how yesterday went. A little bit disappointed in Boa Vista's performance, especially at home. But Sia, we've all been here before. It's a bounce back day, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I gotta have a bounce back too, to be honest with you, because Buckets, I lost my last college basketball bet, but it's been a rough go for me in college basketball. The last few haven't gone super well, but again, shooters shoot, and I've got a play I like today. Mikey B, I gotta ask you how you're doing. I haven't seen you in a few days. Excited about the NBA slate?
Yes, I'm doing good. Rick Funcannon reached out to me on Twitter, says his brother is going to the Bulls game tonight. Rick, stay tuned. I have 2 Bulls bets for you and your brother, so stay tuned.
Wow. Okay. Griffin Carroll, we have some NHL bets. Are we going the prop route or are we going the sides and total route today?
Yeah, we're going to go prop route today. Definitely couldn't have started the week much worse, so I'm sure that's what everybody wanted to hear from me. Got absolutely slapped in the face last night, but only going up from here, hopefully. But feeling good about the props we got in the pocket tonight.
All right, Zack Cimini, every time I go to you, I always make the old tired, stale joke, my second favorite Zach after Zach Morse. But I bring that up again because Ali Lanzak, I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, Ali. She says, Sia, my 76-year-old mother would agree with you on the Frazier-Seinfeld debate. And obviously, Ali, that's a dig. That's a dig at me. I totally get it. I'm the old person that likes Frazier over Seinfeld. But can you drop your grandmother's name? I think her and I would get along. I want to give her a shout out. Zach, how you doing today?
I am doing great. See, I've been up since 5 o'clock here in Vegas. I'm fired up. Only a couple days left in the month of February. We know what that means. March is just about here.
March is just about here, but we're going to start with soccer. Buckets, I want to start with you. You said it. You want to get back on track in soccer. You've got a soccer play today. What is it?
See, I saw a comment in the chat yesterday that said, are we really betting on Portuguese soccer? Is that all we have this afternoon? Well, let me do you one better, because we're not betting on Portuguese soccer today. We're betting on Romanian Liga 1, which is the top flight of Romanian soccer. So we're going deeper down the well to find the best lines that we can here. And I'm looking at what I think, personally, is a fantastic match between Dinamo Bucuresti and FC Hermannstadt. And when you're looking at the Romanian Liga, I could talk about this league for hours, but I'm going to try to make this easy. In Romanian Liga 1, how their relegation system works is that if you are a top 6 club, you avoid relegation. Instead of the bottom 3 getting relegated, the bottom 10 have to fight a relegation playoff, which means it's really, really important to finish the top 6. Hermannstadt is currently 6th on the table, which means they have everything to fight for right now, while Dinamo Bucuresti is 2nd to last, which means they've already checked out the season and they're focused on preparing for this relegation playoff. When these two teams played in the reverse fixture, Hermannstadt won 4-0. Hermannstadt has only lost 1 in their last 5. Hermannstadt looks incredible right now, and they have a lot more to play for. So the fact that we can get them on the draw no bet at plus 100 is a ridiculous line to me, because I think they win this outright. If you want to sprinkle the plus 180, you can. But when I can get that safety net and still get even money at plus 100, I'm absolutely backing Hermannstadt. But just a heads up, this game starts in just over an hour, so make sure to get this bet in right away.
All right. And by the way, the grandmother's name is Charlene. And Griffin, apparently, according to Joe Neuenfeld, you look like an FBI agent that's undercover. And you say in the chat, which I absolutely love, is it working? Your response to the FBI agent comment.
Listen, I don't know, sometimes I have bedhead, all right? So I put on a hat in the morning instead of getting myself all looking good. But yeah, if it's working, that's perfect. Fine by me.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. By the way, Doug Williams, I just said I've been having trouble in college basketball. I didn't really need you to pile on, but appreciate the editorial. That's super nice of you. Hit the like button while you're here, by the way. All right. By the way, if you want to take Bucket's bet, or if you want to take any of our bets, Doug Williams certainly wants to take one of my bets. And if you do, you can go to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $5, and you will receive $150 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE150. That's EDGE150. All right. Well, I know Dog is here to listen to my next college basketball play, so we're going to do that right after this break from our partners.
The madness doesn't just happen.
Y'all get ready!
And although it's marked on our calendars each year, it's built by moments of mayhem before.
And the crowd goes crazy!
And it begins to bubble long before it bursts. Sure, madness and March may go hand in hand, but it starts right here.
All right, we're back, and I'm back with a college basketball play, trying to rebound off the TCU play. I'm staying in the Big 12, and I'm staying in Texas. We've got Texas Tech, and honestly, I would have thought this line would have been Texas Tech favored maybe by 3. I do think 4.5 is too many points. I do think this will be a close game. You know, when I've watched Texas Tech, I will say they completely blew out Kansas. What was it, about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago? That was without Kevin McCullough for Kansas. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that. He is the glue for that team, but they absolutely blew him out. Credit to them. But they haven't been covering against the spread at all. Now, mind you, Texas hasn't really been either, but Texas has also played a brutal schedule. I mean, just the last 4 or 5 games at Houston, at Kansas, at home against Iowa State. Now, again, Texas Tech, also a pretty tough schedule, but not as tough as Texas. And I think Texas is really going to feel like they can come up for air at Texas Tech. Last time I watched Texas Tech at home, they were playing TCU, the team I bet on yesterday that looked really good against Texas Tech and was winning the entire game until the very end. I was not impressed with Texas Tech there. And I think Texas is hungry enough. Offensively, I think they're good enough. Defensively, good enough. If you look at the Ken Pom ratings, offensive and defensive efficiency, both these teams are rated very similarly. Texas is about 5 spots behind Texas Tech in a lot of those metrics, or I should say the main rating metric. So again, I think 4.5 points is way too many here. Again, Texas hasn't been great, but I could say the same about Texas Tech. By the way, Texas Tech just lost to UCF on the road. Not super impressive there. So my pick, Texas plus 4.5 on the road at Texas Tech. Now we move from college basketball to the NHL, and Griffin Carroll teased it. The FBI agent teased it. He's got 2 plays in the NHL. So what do we call FBI agent Carroll? What is your play?
Yeah, so I never shy away from the plus money here. That's where we're going with the first play. It's a combo of Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat to both get a point at plus 148. I got this at DraftKings. You could also get it at Bet365. If you're not able to access that, I think DeBrincat at minus 130, you could play straight. I definitely want to target Washington here. They just played last night. Been in a ton of high-scoring games the last couple weeks, which probably explains why they're allowing about 3.5 goals per game on the road lately. But Patrick Kane, since he came back, has been on fire. 8 games. He's got a point in all 8, 12 total. DeBrincat's coming on strong here too. He's got 7 points in his last 5. But what I'm really looking at here is last couple games, they put Kane and DeBrincat back together on the same line. In those 2 games, DeBrincat's got 5 points. Kane's got 4. they got 2+ in each of those 2 games, and I'm just asking for 1 today from each. And the cherry on top is they love playing the Capitals. DeBrincat's got 9 points in his last 5 against them. Kane's got 7 in his last 5. They got at least 1 in all 5 of those games. Ideally, this is happening on the same goal, so plus 148. Really liking that price. Second play, sticking with the point props, I'm going to go Robert Thomas point at minus 120. Robert Thomas from the Blues. I just think this price for Robert Thomas, a guy who's usually priced around minus 200, this just kind of flagged. I had to bet this, even though I don't usually like to target Winnipeg here. I mean, Thomas has a point in 70% of his games this year, 14 in his last 10. And yeah, Winnipeg is a little tight on the season, but lately, last 4 games, they've let up 14 goals. Big reason why is their penalty kill is starting to slip. They've let up 4 power play goals in their last 4 games. St. Louis is the 10th best power play over the last month, and Thomas has been the engine there. He's got 7 power play points in his last 10 games. If you're feeling risky, I don't hate a plus 290 bet here on Thomas to record a power play point, but just knowing that element exists makes me like Thomas to be involved in some fashion tonight. And seeing he's got a point in 3 of his last 4 against Winnipeg, I'm going to jump at this minus 120. Again, this is a guy's minus 200 every night, except tonight. So I really like the value here.
Robert Thomas showing his versatility. I'm pretty sure he is the former lead singer of Matchbox 20 and now playing in the NHL. This guy does it all. That's impressive. Speaking of doing it all, Buckets, I got a question for you. And I think Chris Kish and others may have already addressed it with Snug the Cat, but Snug the Cat wants to know, is FA Cup fool's gold today? There are a lot of sexy BTTS out there, both teams to score, but I'm tired of getting cup slapped, he said.
I have been cup slapped more times than I can count, Snug, so I'm with you on this. I mean, at this point in the FA Cup, we are at the point in the competition where the teams that are there actually want to be there for the most part, but I would tell everybody, don't you dare bet a single player prop before you see lineups, especially for teams like Manchester City playing Luton Town. We might not see a single City starter actually start that game. So do be careful. I will hint that the one FA Cup game that I think sees a lot of goals is Bournemouth versus Leicester City. Those are 2 teams to where if I was looking for BTTS or I was looking for over 2.5, over 3.5 goals, that would be my one lean, but just be very careful, especially pre-lineups.
All right. And spaghetti and meatballs, by the way, Buckets. He says, ain't nothing wrong with Portuguese soccer. LOL. I don't think you needed to drop the LOL there, by the way. Berg is in the chat. He says, morning, everyone. We got to get to Zach's plays. We got to get to Mikey B's plays. And Mikey B, I have a question about an NBA side that I like. But speaking of waiting for lineups to come out, that like Buckets just teased in soccer, for my play, which I might put in on SportsLine later, we need to wait for lineups to come out because there's an injury or 2 that concern me with a side that I actually really like. But we'll get to all of that NBA talk in just 1 second. We got to hear a quick message from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
I don't mean to brag, but Mark Hood says Sia makes the best pop culture references. And it's not me bragging. It's just him pointing it out. So I appreciate you all following along with whether it's Saved by the Bell or Frasier or Seinfeld or anything else. It's a lot of sitcom, a lot of music, Matchbox 20 references. We're going to be doing that the whole time. So listen up. It's not just about the bets. Sometimes we'll very subtly entertain you. And Zach, I need to be entertained with a player prop in the NBA tonight. Let's try to hit this one because again, we're trying to reverse the 2 and 5. We're trying to go 5 and 2 tomorrow. Now, listen, yesterday you weren't on the show, so that's not on you. But let's go. What's your play?
I should have texted prop stars before this pick, but I'm going with a prime regression candidate, as prop stars like to say. Devin Vassell under 18.5 points from the San Antonio Spurs. You look at his 3 matchups this year against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're going to jump out the box. He's averaging 25 points in 3 games against the Timberwolves, 52% from 3-point range, 57% from the field, but I think the Timberwolves are going to have him as a primary target on their scouting report tonight. They're not going to let him go off. You look at the Spurs, they're playing in their 9th straight road game. I know that some of those games were before the All-Star break and continued over after the All-Star break, but still, it's their 9th straight road game, and Vassell is showing a hot potato streak right now where he has an on game, has an off game. In 7 straight games, he has had this pattern, 30 points, then 17, 25 points, then 11, 32 points, then 10. He's coming off a 27-point outing against the Lakers on Sunday with the Timberwolves having heightened defense on him. In that pattern that he's showing, I'm going to go under the 18.5 points.
All right. I like the under there. And by the way, we have a lot of picks in the chat too. Big Cheesy says Dayton minus 9.5. He's got 2 hammers behind that pick. And I believe it was Japan earlier that liked Kansas minus 6.5. And by the way, if you're a member of SportsLine, there's a SportsLine member that actually may be on that as well. By the way, if you're not already a member, again, Proppy, 3-0 yesterday, only 1-0 on the show. So there's more picks than just this show, everybody. If you want to become a member of SportsLine, and if you're not already, super easy. Go to sportsline.com/join or just scan that QR code right in front of you, and you'll get 60% off the annual plan. Just type in the promo code WINNERS. Again, that's the promo code WINNERS for 60% off the annual plan. Drew Martin says, too many ads on the show recently. Actually, it's the same number and the same amount of time, literally for the last 3 years straight. I'm dead serious. It's the same, Drew. So, and they're very, very short. So, yeah, just be patient with that. We've got a lot of content, couple of ads to pay the bills. Listen, Mikey B, Griffin Carroll, Zack Cimini, buckets, pretty expensive. And I'm super expensive. I'm going to be honest with you. All right, Mikey B, you are very expensive, but you're going to be putting a lot of money in people's wallets today. You're going to the Bulls. Like, that's your squad. You know the Bulls up and down. Really, you know everything NBA up and down. Talk to us about your props today.
I can't resist when the shorthanded Bulls play the Pistons. So first, we're going to go DeMar DeRozan over 23.5 points. He's averaging 38 minutes per game for the season, but because they've been so shorthanded lately, he's averaged 40 minutes over the last 12 games. During that stretch, he averaged 25.3 points per game. He had at least 24 points in 9 of those 12 games. The Pistons have the worst defensive rating in the league. The last time he faced them in Chicago, he scored 29 points in a game that Zach LaVine even played in. So I love this over for DeMar DeRozan. And then we're going to go to his teammate, Kobe White, over 9.5 rebounds and assists. He is also playing a ton. He's averaging 39 minutes over the last 15 games. During that span, he combined for at least 10 rebounds and assists 13 times. He averaged 5.7 rebounds and 5.9 assists. He's going to play a ton again against the bad defense. So we're going to finish this off with my Bulls, Kobe White, over 9.5 rebounds and assists.
All right, you know what's really interesting? The play I wanted to ask you about, Mikey B, and the line has changed. And so as the show goes and as the day goes, we start to read some tea leaves. Maybe some guys are playing. I liked the Pelicans at the Knicks. Knicks on a back-to-back, the Pelicans on the front end of a back-to-back. But the question was, hey, is Zion going to play? Which I suspected he would. And is CJ McCollum going to play? And CJ McCollum got a full practice in before they left for New York. So I kind of knew he was going to play. And being that it was in New York, I figured, Zion was going to miss one of these 2 games on the front end of a back-to-back. It would probably be the Pacers next as opposed to the Knicks. Well, the reason I give you all of that context is because I'm pretty sure before the show started, I'm pretty sure it was Pelicans minus 1.5, and now it's climbed all the way up to 3.5 with juice on the Knicks, so it'll probably settle back down to 3 soon enough. But now that we have that new line, to me, it seems like that's indicating that people think Zion is going to play. Do you have an opinion on that game with the Pelicans? Let's just call it minus 3.
Yeah, I would probably avoid it. There's 11 games tonight, so there's a lot of different games that you can attack. I'm worried that second game of a back-to-back for the Knicks, Isaiah Hartenstein has been battling injuries. He had an Achilles injury, I believe it was, before the All-Star break. They've limited his minutes since he came back, so if he sits out, that's a big loss for them. They're already shorthanded without Anunoby and Randall. But again, we don't know. McCollum had an injury there, seemed kind of serious, but now he practiced yesterday, so that's a good thing. I would probably just avoid it. If I had to lean, I would probably just take one of the 2 teams on the money line rather than mess around with the spread, unless you like the Knicks and you're going to get plus 3.5. But I'd much rather go to my Bulls, Sia, and just take a couple of player props.
All right, fair enough. And Drew Martin, he's in here. He's not trolling. I know everybody's talking to him. He's all good. He loves the crew. He loves the show, and I hope everybody else loves the show. I love the picks. I'll tell you what, if this gets below 3, the game we're talking about right now, the Pelicans, if it gets to 2.5, and if I know Zion and McCollum are playing, I'm definitely playing that, and I'll put it in on SportsLine if I see it sneak below 3. And I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look at the recap screen. We got buckets on Hermannstadt, Dave Matthews Band, otherwise known as DNB, draw no bet at plus 100. That's even money. I've got Texas going back to the Big 12. Wish me luck. Plus 4.5. Zack Cimini, Devin Vassell under 18.5 points. Mikey B, DeMar DeRozan over 23.5 points. And Kobe White over 9.5 rebounds and assists. And Griffin Carroll, Patrick Kane point plus. Alex DeBrincat point plus 148. That's a parlay. And the lead singer of Matchbox 20. So many good hits. Rob Thomas point at minus 120. I see even more picks in the chat, and you got to forgive me because this is only a 20 to 25 minute show, but I see so many picks. So if I don't get to them, just please know I'm not ignoring you, Michael Mig with Mavs plus 4.5. I'm not ignoring Vegas Reno, who likes the Pistons, which is an interesting play. Big Cheesy, I think, agrees with that as well. So can't get to all of the stuff in the chat, but I try to get to as much as possible. I just really appreciate everybody participating in it. And when you hit one from the day before, get in the chat and talk about it, because we've seen it with Chris Kish, Bradley Jacobs, and a lot of cappers, Big Cheesy in the chat. Like, people will give them compliments. We'll have the back and forth where people start to gain momentum and it gets acknowledged. And that's exactly what I want this show to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Jake the Snake, doing everything behind the scenes on the ones and twos, Griffin Carroll doing all things NHL, buckets with the soccer, Zack Cimini with the NBA props, and of course, Mikey B with the NBA props. My name is Sia Nejad. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.